Hi everyone, this is Maya Zahira with PsychicProtectionSanctuary.com, and this is one of my Ask Maya segments. I took a break from doing these segments for a couple of months while I was working really hard on creating and finishing up the new self-study program, the Psychic Protection Solution. And now that that is all created and it's now open and ready for you to join, I'm now back. I have a little bit more time to create more videos for YouTube. So let's jump in. I had a really interesting question, and it was about what do I think about the book, the material, A Course in Miracles. I don't remember the author because I just realized I should have looked this up, but I'm just going to keep going with my thoughts because the author, actually that's not relevant with what I'm going to say to you today. A Course in Miracles has been around for a long time. It is a book that was channeled via an entity. So it's channeled material. It's very, very popular in the New Age. And there are people who are very attached to that material. And there are like courses and groups that like study it like it's there are people who study it like the Bible, like instead of having a Bible study group, it's a study group for A Course in Miracles. Like, people invest a lot of their brain their brain power into studying and understanding this material. And when I tell people what I see about this material, it's so funny because people who are really attached to A Course in Miracles will get very condescending with me. And they'll be like, well, it's very elevated material, so you just don't understand it. And I think that is so funny. It's just hilarious. It's so hilarious to me. It's like, because their cognitive dissonance doesn't allow them to hear what I'm saying or to consider what I'm saying, and that's totally fine. So, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I talk about false light entities. I talk about false light in New Age and beyond, and that I had a major psychic attack by an entity in 2016, so a decade ago from when I'm recording this. It was actually exactly a decade ago because it's April 2026, and this happened in 2016. And I had this encounter with a false light entity. I didn't know what that was at the time. I was pretty naive. I was very into the feel-good spirituality, and it's all good and positive vibes and everything. And I went to a colleague to get a second opinion about a spiritual matter. And when I went to her, I'm not going to tell the whole story. You can read the whole story in my first book, Darkness Disguised as Light. But a couple of sentences, snapshot, is that I went to her, and for this consultation, I came under major attack. It turned out that the Council of 12 Angels that she thought, or she thinks that she's working with, was actually a very dangerous imposter. It was one very powerful entity pretending to be 12 angels to her, but it was a shapeshifter. It was pretending to be all sorts of things with me when it was attacking me. And that was the beginning of my ability to discern false light entities. Unfortunately, it was through the trauma of that situation that went on for about 6 weeks before I was able to figure out what the heck was happening and clear it. And then after that, the situation was validated. What I believed had happened, that this was an imposter entity, was validated again and again as I worked with different clients all over the world, seeing this same scenario playing out with different people. Okay. So let me bring it back to A Course in Miracles. What I started to see after that traumatic catalyst that created an awakening for me to be able to see and discern false light, what I began to see was like this whole network, not just through New Age, but through even religion and like the UFO enthusiasts, and the truther movement, like everywhere, all these different spiritual groups, there would be people who were channeling messages from one or more entities that they believed to be ascended beings or aliens or certain religious figures. And in the majority of these channeled writings, like almost all of these channeled writings were coming through false light entities, dark entities posing as light beings. So that could be demons, jinn, other types of beings that have the level of darkness and deceit that they would want to do something like that. Because it's fun to confuse humanity. It's fun for them to confuse and disorient humanity into like chasing their tail. Like, can you imagine all these people that are just spending years studying and living by this these fake materials? How this false light matrix is run is that, and how it is so convincing, is that it's about 80% truth and 20% lies. And this is very common even when we look at the behavior of humans who are psychopaths and who are intentionally deceiving a person or groups of people. They will get away with their lies by telling 80% truth and 20% lies. Because if they told 100% lies, no one would believe them. So it would be like so obvious, like, well, that's ridiculous. We're not going to believe that crazy sounding stuff. But when you make it sound all like higher wisdom-ish, then that's where all these people who have spiritual ego go, well, this is higher wisdom, Maya. You just don't understand it. False light brings in material like that on purpose. It channels material like that on purpose. I call it spiritual word salad. It's done intentionally so that people will be fooled. So you probably know now what I'm going to say about A Course in Miracles. I've spent the whole video like setting this final point up. What do you think I'm going to say? A Course in Miracles. And this is through my spiritual discernment, not just like I'm opinionated because I have these views. No, my spiritual discernment as someone who can see and discern false light my spiritual discernment is that A Course in Miracles was 100% channeled from a non-benevolent, a negative entity, a false light entity. This is not truth material. Now, if you are a truth seeker and you want to read that material, that's fine. Like, to help educate yourself, to understand, like, this is what spiritual word salad, intentional false light material looks like. You can totally do that. Or if you want to read it and be like, I want to see what I think, because this is what Maya thinks, I encourage you to I encourage you to come up with your own beliefs, your own discernment about this. Okay? This is what I know to be true, is that A Course in Miracles is absolutely false light. It is not truth material. And remember what I said earlier, the majority, almost all channeled content. And I say almost all, but every single channeled content that I've looked at is coming through false light. But I'm leaving it open to, like, maybe there's something out there that is authentic. I just haven't seen it yet. So I'm not ready to say 100% is false light. Almost all channeled content is false light. So it's not surprising that this content, A Course in Miracles, is false light content. And let me go back to the false light matrix that I talked about before. It is intentional. It's purposely set up this way that something would be channeled and become world popular. Like the false light matrix, that whole agenda isn't going to, like, channel something that's not going to be well received. So the fact that it's popular and world known, world renowned, like people all over the world have heard of this material. Maybe you have or you haven't, but it's definitely a global, like, it's been around for a while, and it is a global thing. And that's intentional, to reach the most number of people, to just throw people off track. It's like people are reading, taking all this time to study this material and, like, chasing their tail and going nowhere, right? It's keeping people stuck, basically, keeping them stuck in an illusion loop. That's the whole intent. So, again, use your own discernment. You can hear my opinion and agree or not agree, but I want to recommend something to you that if you want to gain a better understanding all of the nuances of how false light works, I recommend that you get my 4th book. This is Revealing the False Light Agenda. And I go very in depth into exactly how all of this works, and way more detail into how I know what I know. So my first book, Darkness Disguised as Light, gives the origin story of that attack, that encounter with that false light entity in 2016. But then this goes further and tells so many stories of all of the validations and all of the people that I encountered, and clients that were having these similar issues with false light, and over again I was seeing the same patterns. And so when you read about these stories, it helps you to understand how it operates And there's also a chapter at the end that takes you step by step in how to discern what is false light and what is authentic, because there actually are authentic spiritual beings that are positive and benevolent. They do exist, but we have to be way more discerning than perhaps we originally thought, because these negative, these false light entities are exceptionally tricky. And there are a few stories in this book, Revealing the False Light Agenda. There are a few stories that really illustrate how tricky they really are. Like, they can trick even the most discerning spiritual teacher or seeker, even someone who is psychic and has pretty good discernment. These entities are very, very, very tricky. So I encourage you to read the book so that you can learn more. And I would love to hear your thoughts. Keep it friendly, friendly in the comments if you can. But this is a place to discuss and share your ideas and think about things. Think about, like, maybe give a second thought to things that you're assuming are truth. So hopefully this gives you food for thought. As always, sending you lots of love. And if you'd like more information about what I do and a free quiz that helps you determine if you're under psychic attack, you can visit psychicprotectionsanctuary.com and learn all about my services and courses and programs. Sending you lots of love.